Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. How y'all doing? Hope y'all are doing amazing. It's been a while, but we're back like we never left. Now I have a new guest on here. He's been on here before, not on the video podcast, but it's my dad, Pappy Chulo, OG, triple OG, OG, triple triple.
Hello.
Okay. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your full government name, your social security number, and your address.
Well, my name is Meep. My social security number is yes, and I was born on that day.
And how many push-ups can you do?
All of them.
Sounds great. Sounds amazing. Well, Meep, we're happy to have you on the podcast. One thing you have to know about my dad is he doesn't take anything seriously. Close to nothing seriously.
I do take things seriously, only when they're serious. Okay, so you have to remember there's times in life where life will punch you in the face, but you got to rise up, you got to get better, and you just have to move on. And then at the same time, you got to laugh at it. You got to laugh at life because life is going to laugh at you, right?
That's true.
That's right. So anytime something comes up in life, you're gonna be like, life's gonna punch you in the face or kick you in the throat.
You wanted to say something else?
Yes.
Kick you in the balls.
Yes. You gotta box up them tenders and get ready to roll.
Box up the McNuggets.
You gotta box up them McNuggets.
So, I have a few questions about your life, about your past life, Dad.
I have a few answers.
He has a lot of dad lore. I hope I have that much whenever I get older. So there is one more story about your high school days, Dad, that I would like to discuss. Your coach bumped you down how many spots that one time?
Oh man, let's talk about Coach Sullivan. Let me tell you something about Coach Sullivan. Okay. Coach Sullivan. No, I'm just kidding. No, his name was Coach Sullivan. So Coach Sullivan was the defensive back coach for our high school when I played it at this one place. Yeah, and so I was I was kind of climbing the ranks when I was I can't remember if I was a sophomore or junior, but everyone wanted to play at this school, and so everybody's there. We're trying, we're doing our best to move up, and there's a lot of competition, and so I started slowly moving up, and then this one day, I noticed that like some of the guys that were starters on the football team, they're like, hey, Rendon, you need to take it easy, man. You're going too hard all the time. And that's just the way I was. Like I played when I played baseball, when I played football, when I ran track, it was just like, you got to give your best all the time, And so they didn't like that. And so the coaches were getting, supposedly what they were telling me is the coaches were getting mad because I was going too hard on them. And everyone was going too hard and that we needed to take it easy. So I was like, all right, whatever. And so this one time we were running these drills and we were pretty much like tackling dummies. And I was like, man, I'm not going to tackle a dummy. I'm not going to put myself in harm's way. And then these guys are going to hit me and then I might not play the next game. So the coaches was kind of hard on me all the time. And I was like, oh, I can handle it. That's fine. And he had me run this route. When I ran the route, I slipped, right? And he got mad. And he's like, you know how to run the route? And I was like, yes, sir. And he's like, okay, then run the route. And I was like, yes, sir. And I turned around and he like just smacked me really hard on my helmet. After I turned around, and I turned around real quick and he grabs me by my face mask. He's like, you run the route. And I was mad. I tore my chin strap off and I was just staring him down. And he didn't like that. So I went from like starting JV or like third string varsity to like sitting like third string JV to third string sub varsity. which is ridiculous. I mean, it's like, come on, man. I mean, what are we doing here?
What do we do there?
Right? What do you? I mean, we're playing a game. We're playing for. And okay, so I played at Judson, and that's one thing that a lot of people have misconceptions about Judson. Is like, oh my gosh, they're such a great program. You know, DW Rutledge and this and that, and all those guys are so fake. I mean, you're talking about Rutledge's. They had nothing to do with trying to build better athletes. It had nothing to do with that.
We're exposing Judson right now.
You know, it had nothing to do with, oh, well, these guys are, we're trying to build real men to go out into the world and to be better people. All they wanted was state titles. That was it. And if you couldn't produce for them, then get the hell out of the way. That's what it was. That's why when you notice that when Wagner that school was made, then I believe it was Coach Gibson, which was the defensive coordinator for Judson, went over to coached Wagner, and they became a powerhouse. And the only reason why Judson was good wasn't because our coaching. You know, yeah, coaches were pretty good. You know, I mean, they threatened us a lot. You know, there was a lot of, you know, oh, this legacy, you got to live up to it. But we had so many kids fighting for such small positions that, you know, that it's gonna, you know, the only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna have good people rise up to the top, and then you're going to, you know, to obviously you're gonna be good. I mean, if you have 4,000 kids coming to one school, and you know you have, you know, 300 kids going out for 11 positions, I mean, of course you're gonna be good, you know. And so these kids are gonna kill themselves for the program. You ever watch that? If you ever see that movie, The Program, that's what it's like. That's what it's called, The Program, because that's what it's about. It's not about developing character and individuals. They used to run this thing called boot camp, and they try to make it like Marine Corps boot camp, and it was nothing like it. Nothing like it.
You'd rather go through that boot camp than Marine Corps?
Oh my gosh, like 20 million times over and over. Yeah, because it was, they just try to make it seem like, oh my gosh, this is the hardest thing ever on this earth. And no, it was easy. But they try to make it something that more than what it was. And so it's sad to see that they hold this Coach Rutledge to like a pedestal, and his kids, and they're, oh, Clint wrote this book and that book. It's, to me, it was just all just for their benefit, for the
namesake.
Yeah, that's all it was. You know, that's all it was. I mean, it's sad to see like a bunch of my friends that went through these programs and try to go back and try to help. It is very, very few of them that go back and try to help and actually are helped in helping the community. Yeah, sorry, but I mean, yeah, I mean, Judson was just we were only good for a reason. That was because we had so many kids fighting for so many positions. And if you couldn't hack it, then they would kick you out of the way. They'd be like, hey, get out of the way. We got somebody else better here ready to take your position. That's all it was.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, you can't cut it. Guess what? We got someone else lined up. They had like seven strings. I mean,
there was that started for us, second stringers that started people that were second stringers that could start anywhere else. But there were so many kids battling for those positions that they would do anything, you know, because it was Judson. It was a name, you know, and it's sad to see that. Like, it wasn't building character on kids. It was it was making us sacrifice our health in our spirits and our everything else just for this program, just to win a state title.
And especially for that name, like Judson. Like, I know this is gonna be a little off topic, but I feel like a lot of people will do a lot just for a name. Because if you look at how much football players put into Judson High, because it's Judson, you know, or how many people have gone into different programs in order to do these types of things. And it's the same thing with designer brands. Like, people will put so much money into Gucci, Prada, Versace, all these different things, right? They actually did an experiment at a mall. These people did an experiment at a mall where they made a fake designer brand, put a fancy name on it. They took Payless shoes, like those high heels, those right, and a bunch of like Goodwill and like Ross suit pants and clothes. But they put a fancy name to them, fancy name on the tag, a high price, like 200 something. Oh my gosh, that thing sold out. But it's insane because if people think it's worth a lot, then they'll buy it first for whatever reason, for status. Personally, I would buy if I got $1 million tomorrow, right? If I was gonna get $1 million every day, I would spend a little bit on designer because in my opinion, some of that stuff looks cool. Like if you look at some of those Louis Vuitton like duffel bag, like those I would want one of those. Those are cool. Or like a different style jacket or something like that. But I think it's kind of dumb when people pay like $300 for a T-shirt that says like off white. But it's just a plain white T-shirt and it just says off white. Like that's come on, bro. I could print that. I could use a little Chinese sweatshop to print that. I'm done. Can't say that.
Oh, say what? I just said you better hurry up. Bing down, huh? Bing ya. Bing ya. Bing ya.
What's that thing The Rock says where he's like, "Let The Rock tell you in Chinese." Uh-oh, Chinese. Bing dong he don't go. Aye. Oh my gosh. You you looked up, the heavens opened up, and God himself looked down upon you and said, "Bob, but my name, but it doesn't matter what your name is." I've done that so many times to Nate where I'm like, "Nate, when's your birthday?" "Oh, it doesn't matter when your birthday is." He's like, "I'm sorry."
Terrible, G.
But let's hear about your time at a boot camp. You were in the Marines, correct?
Yes. So being in Marine Corps boot camp back in the mid '90s.
I thought you were gonna say the 40s. I'm just kidding. He's gonna beat me for that later.
Yeah, back I was, I think I was like maybe 12 or 13 when I went into boot camp, and
Grandma's house doesn't count as boot camp.
okay, never mind that. So I went into Marine Corps boot camp like towards the late '90s, early 2000s. I'm not going to say when, and back then it was okay for them to physically harass you, and that's what Marine Corps boot camp was all about. Like, there's only so many people can get through that, and there's a saying that all men are born equal, and then some of them become Marines, and that's true. We are a department of the Navy.
Here we go.
The men's department. So, but yeah, just going into boot camp was an eye opener. It was something that I never thought that I could get through, but I made it through it. My body and my mind, they really pushed me. I mean, there's some stories where like people trying to commit suicide and people choking and dying, and then they're able to come, able to revive them and came back to our platoon, but they weren't the same. But the good thing is that we were pushed to where now anything in life, that you can get through, no matter what situation is. You improvise, adapt, and overcome, and so it was a really good time. It made me the person I am today.
More disciplined.
Yes, very much disciplined. I love dark humor. That's what the Marine Corps is all about. And people don't get that. They're just like, oh my gosh, how can you laugh at certain things? And it's okay. I mean, because there's that's gonna laugh at you. You just got to smile right back at it and say, let's go.
let me say something real quick. So I have a group chat, and dad just looked at me funny whenever I said this, but I know most people get offended by this. I have a group chat with me and two of my friends. It's called Two Towers and a Plane. I think that's the funniest thing in the world. We've had group chats named Two Towers and a Plane. There was like 7 of us in a group chat, and someone named the group chat seven reasons to use a condom. And there was another one where it was ours was 5 reasons to deport all Mexicans. But like just stuff like that, a lot of people won't get. But growing up with Mr. Dark Humor over here, it's just a lot of that stuff was really funny. Like he would say something. Oh my gosh. He would say something racist, and I would just be like, "You can't say that." He's like, "Yeah, I can. Sure, I can." Just laugh at it, man. It was really funny. But
I get that from your grandpa. You remember?
oh my god.
Yeah, grandpa's. He comes from a different time, but nothing's racist to him. You know?
Yeah.
It's all black and white and brown and red, and he's not afraid to ask people different challenging questions.
Let me tell y'all something about my grandpa, okay? My grandpa, we call him Papo. He has some insane stories. He's like, oh yeah, mijo, I was a Golden Glove. Oh yeah, I was gonna go into the Marine Corps. He did go into the Marine Corps. Was a minor league baseball player. How many jobs did he work?
Oh my gosh, he started working when he was about 8 years old, downtown San Antonio, shining shoes, so he can get money because his family wasn't. He had a bunch of, I think he had like 6 or 7 sisters. He was the only boy, second to the youngest, or maybe he might have been the youngest. But yeah, he was a go-getter like you. So yeah.
In other words, if he wanted to, he could be Superman.
Yeah.
In other words, he could be really old, funny, racist Superman. So, Dad, tell us about some of the funniest things you've seen in boot camp specifically. Not all the Marine Corps, just boot camp, like with Johnson and Robinson and all those other stories. So y'all don't know about that Johnson and Robinson stuff, but y'all are about to know.
Okay, so when you go into boot camp, it's like anything else. You always have 1 or 2 people that are just messed up. Like they mess up. They can't even tie their shoes, right? And it's like, hurry up and tie them. Why does it take you so long? It's hard. Well, they're Velcro, so shouldn't be that hard. And so these guys will mess up in every way, shape, and form. And so we had this one guy, his name was Robinson, and always messing up. And this one time, we were supposed to grab our rifles, get back online, and just stand there. And he decided that he wanted to twirl his rifle. And so there's a guy that leads everybody. He is called the guide, Guide. And so he sees Robinson twirl his rifle, and he notices that the drill instructors, not drill sergeants, but drill instructors, that's what Marines call them. He noticed that the drill instructor saw him, so runs over to Robinson. He's like, "Hey man, why'd you do that?" Robinson's like, "What are you talking about?" And so the guide's like, Williams, he's like, "Hey, you know what you did. No, I got to go say something because they saw you." So Williams goes and tells the drill instructors, and they run down there and they just start hammering Robinson. "Why'd you twirl your rifle?" And this, that. So they make him twirl his rifle again, and twirls it, and the buttstock gets to his face, and they just punch it and hits him in the face. Nose is bleeding. He's on the floor. They're kicking him, and then they grab him. They put him back up on his bunk, and they just start yelling at him, and they give him a few more, meat hooks, and they're like, Go clean up. And so they grab his rifle, and they drag him to what we call it's a restroom, but as the Marines call it, a head. Don't ask me why. It's just our terminology. So they drag him over there, and then somebody cleans him up, and he comes back, and that was Robinson. He was always messing up, and that's what we had to live with, like every day. Like everything's by the numbers. It's hurry up. It's fast. It's everything's if you don't hurry up, and then you're dead. And so it was a lot of fun.
Nice. If for those of you who don't know, I feel like a lot of people should know what a buttstock is, but if you don't know, a buttstock is the end of the rifle where you put it in your shoulder to aim and fire. So that, what was it made of? Wood?
Wood? No, it was made of like some type of like, the M16s back then were made out of like plastic, like really hard plastic metal.
Okay, so they punched the thing, which went into his nose, and I'm pretty sure broke his nose, right?
I think so.
Yeah. What about Johnson? What did Johnson do?
Oh gosh, man. So Johnson was the same. Like he was Robinson's twin, but brother from another mother. They probably don't even know what's going on with Johnson because he was so far out there. But Johnson was always wanting to try to do his best, and he did. He did his best, and that was probably his best.
He was his own worst enemy.
Yeah. So one time we were doing this night infiltration course, and as we're the night infiltration course, you go through all these loops and jumps, and trying to go under barbed wire and stuff's blowing up next to you, and so we go through that. Then the next morning we didn't sleep at all, so the next morning we have to go from one side of a hill to the other, and we have to do like really quiet movements. And so this was like at 7, 8 in the morning. And so we're all sitting down, we're all laying down. We have to be about 15 meters apart because if there's a grenade or something thrown, that's usually the radius of its impact. So if you're 15 meters or more away from it, then you're not going to get hurt. So we're moving along, and one of the guys stops, and he sees this wire and this grenade attached to it. Of course, these are all dummies because we're still in boot camp. So he tells us all to stop. He tells us to stop, and then he tells us to freeze. And so after like 5 seconds, you have to lay down and get in a prone position. Well, nobody told Johnson you're not supposed to fall asleep. So we all start looking back at each other, and we're telling each other, come on, come, everybody come. So we start moving forward, and then we get over this hill, and we count, and we're missing one guy. And we're like, who the heck are we missing? And first thing, we're like, freaking Johnson. So we look down the hill, and there's Johnson. He is out.
Like lights out.
Lights out. He is so, we're whistling and nothing. He is not moving. So myself and another guy volunteered to go down and grab him. So we sneak down there, we shimmy down there, and it was pretty good, like at least like 100 yards away. So we get down there, and as soon as we get up to him, we like kind of tap him, and he doesn't move. So I can't remember the guy. I think it was Perez. I think it was Omar. And he grabs his rifle, and then he kicks him. And Johnson like rolls over like, what the hell is just happening? And so I'm like, dude, get up, man. I was like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, man, we're freaking dead already. Look at us. We're sitting out in the open. And he's like, oh, no, I didn't see you guys. And Perez is pretty mad. And he's like, dude, you freaking fell asleep. It's like kicks him again. So we get him up the hill. And our sergeant's there, Sergeant Vasquez, and he is mad. He is livid. He is pissed. So he makes Johnson grab his M16, and then he makes him grab the saw, the assault rifle. Oh. Yeah, that big old bad boy. And then he makes him grab a rock, a big old boulder that's like 30 pounds, and he makes him hold all of those. and he makes him carry him everywhere he goes for the rest of the day. So it was funny because at one time he drops it, and it falls on his foot, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I think I broke something." And everybody's just telling him, "Shut the hell up, man. Just keep walking. Pick up your stupid rock."
I mean, hey, would you rather get a broken foot or a bullet to the head? You know?
Right? That's what I'm saying. But I mean, I think he learned. I don't know what happened to him.
I mean, maybe he was a little. Maybe he was the dummy grenade. Who knows?
I think so. I think that's why they call Johnsons now, not dummy grenades.
Man. Oh man, but so that's what boot camp was like for you. Did you?
It was crazy.
Did you ever get in trouble at boot camp?
Yes.
Like major trouble?
Oh no, not major trouble. I just got in trouble for like one time. I had to use the restroom, and I took too long, and so the drill instructors asked, like, "Hey, is the head secure the restroom?" And the guide, he usually says yes. And I took a little too long this time, and he said no.
A little too long means more than, what, 30 seconds?
90 seconds? They give us about 90 seconds for like 125 guys to use the restroom. And there's not too many urinals and crappers. I would say something else, but no. And so he's like, "No, Recruit Rendon's still in there." And I just hear him say, "What the beep?" So I'm trying to hurry up and get out of there, and there's these 3 massive guys coming at me, and I'm looking through them, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk right through them. They're probably gonna stop me, maybe. And next thing I know, I was like flying 5 feet back. I hit the floor. They grab me. They throw me up against the wall, and they're like, "Why the hell aren't you online? Why are you still in the restaurant?" They punch me a few times. They grab me. They throw me on the floor, and they kick me, and they're like, "Get the hell online!" And I just ran. I couldn't even breathe, but man, I was hauling butt all the way to get back online. So
you're not trying to face the wrath of those drone instructors.
No. It was a lot of pain, but a lot of fun. Yeah. So
it's weird because it's a lot of pain, but it's a lot of fun. So it's kind of like hard to explain, but at the same time, like I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you say that y'all had any from Full Metal Jacket? Was Johnson and Robinson the private piles of your platoon?
Robinson was the private pile of our platoon, except he wasn't smart enough to be able to shoot himself. So so that's where he was definitely a private pile.
Oh,
always messing up.
Did he ever sneak a jelly donut?
No jelly donuts.
Okay, good.
But there's this one, oh my gosh. So I had this one friend, and I'm not gonna say his name. But you
can say a fake name.
Okay, so his name was, let me see. What was his first name? Larry. I'll just say his first name was Larry because I know his last name. So he used to dip. And he came from...
He used to dip?
Yeah, so, like the tobacco.
Oh, like chewing tobacco?
Yeah, chewing tobacco. So he used to dip all the time. But once you go into boot camp, you can't have any of that stuff. You don't smoke, you don't drink, none of that. Mm-hmm. Like you're lucky enough to call your parents like one time out of the whole time you're there. And so one of the drill instructors, he dipped, right? And so I guess there was these little packets that dip comes in instead of like grabbing grains, or I don't know. I've never done that before, but I've seen them. And so instead of grabbing the grains, there was these little packets that they come in, and you just stick the packet, I guess, in your lip. And so the drill instructor spit them out in the trash can. And at night you have this fire watch, right? And people look over, and everybody's up talking and writing letters to their girlfriends and their soon to be ex-girlfriends.
Oh gosh.
right? Because you go to boot camp and it's done with. Anybody that tells you, "Oh, you're gonna get married and we're gonna live happily ever after," no, that never happens.
You gotta hit them with the realism.
Yeah, you gotta tell, hey, it ain't gonna happen. Your girl is gonna be dating somebody else by the time you come back. And we're talking about 13 weeks of hell, pretty much. So anyway, so he hadn't dipped, and he sees one of the drill instructors take his dip out of his mouth and throw it in the trash can. And so later on, he's like, dude, I'm feeding for some dip. We're like, well, man, you can't get any dip here, because they go through all of our mail or anything. He's like, no, Staff Sergeant threw some dip in the trash can. And we're like, yeah, man, but he used that. That came out of his mouth. He's like, I don't care. I'm going to go get it. So Larry goes into the trash can, grabs Staff Sergeant's dip, and puts it in his mouth. I'm like, come on.
Did he just, like, rub it off?
No, he just grabbed it, stuck it in his mouth. That's disgusting. That's how bad. I'm telling you, man. So some of these white people are like crazy.
It is white people.
Because you think about, like, when I was in, I mean, I don't think I've met any brown folk, any Mexican that dips, and then
unless they were like ranchero or something.
Even then, like they didn't dip, and like there was like very, very few black people that did that too. But it was always a white guy. So Larry just took that dip, grabbed it out of the trash can.
Did you ever get caught?
I don't remember if he did or not. I want to say he did.
Oh, gosh.
I want to say he did, because I think they made him eat it. Yeah, because what he was doing was, so the drill instructors, they rotate. So there's 3 of them, and 4 of them actually. One's a senior, which he doesn't stay there, but he does stay like every now and then. Mm-hmm. And they have a duty hut. So one stays one night, next night. So they trade out every 3 or 4 nights. And I think they caught Larry like taking the dip out of the trash can. And I think that I can say that he did, that they made him eat it. And they put him on the quarterdeck. They PT'd him for a good amount of time until he started throwing up. And then they grabbed another pack of, one of the drill instructors that was dipping. He grabbed another pack of dip, and he made Larry chew it while he was ITing him, not PTing him, ITing him again. Up, down, up, down, up, down, on your back, on your face, on your back, on your face, and made him swallow it again, and he threw up again. So yeah, they love Larry. They love to punish him.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they used to do. I don't know how it is now, but it can't be that bad anymore. Just with all the like woke, no offense, but all the woke people who are like, that's abusive. No, it's just discipline.
Yeah, and I mean, you would get guys that they found out that were like, well, after basic, you go out into the fleet if you're active, which I was, and you get guys that are Marines that are out there, and nobody ever wanted to say they were gay or anything like that, because they knew that they would get handled, because it just wasn't something that nobody ever said. Like, if that's what you are, then you keep it to yourself. You hide that stuff. Nobody wants to know about it. Mm-hmm. And so that's the way it always was. But if somebody said something about it, then or did something like that and got caught, it wasn't good.
They would get
they would get they would get the towel treatment.
Oh, the blanket parties?
Blanket party, something like that. They would accidentally, stuff would happen. That's what I'll say. Not that I took any part in that, or I did or I didn't. I'm just saying.
That we know of. That we know. And this, let me be clear, this is not discriminatory towards anybody at all.
Correct. Yeah.
At the time when it was more acceptable, you know.
Yeah, when it wasn't acceptable because you have to understand that you're a unit. So when you're a unit, you don't want any type of anything going on that's going to disrupt the unity in that atmosphere, because you have to remember that everything that they teach you is life and death, is kill or be killed. And so when something disrupts that or something takes away your focus from the mission, then that's not good. You know, and that's what it really comes down to, is just accomplishing the mission, doing what you got to do to get it done. And if you have anything else that is taking your mind away from accomplishing that mission, then that's not good. So you gotta take care of it before it comes up, you know, during the mission. Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotta do what you gotta do.
Because it's like in Major Payne when he's like, you think Charlie care about all that? All he knows is stab you in your little heart, like that. Why would was it the Marines only who referred to the enemy as Charlie, or everybody?
No, that was everyone. Like,
okay.
Anytime you went over to fight in Vietnam, that was with the Vietnam veterans that they just referred them to Charlie.
Oh, okay.
That was a polite way of calling them chinks.
I'm gonna have to bleep that out. That's what they called them, but I have to bleep that out. I'm gonna text my Asian friend before this. I'm gonna be like, hey dude, can I say this?
Yeah, I mean that's just the way it was. Like, so it's a completely different dynamic from the 60s and 70s up till now. Like, so everybody gets hurt. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so many people that want to, you know, that they think that their feelings matter. And the only feelings that matter to anyone is their own. Yeah. You know, I mean, if that's just, it's just the way it. I don't know if that's just the way it is or the way it should be, but everybody has feelings, and everybody wants to let everybody know their feelings. And I mean, why? You know, everybody wants to, but not everyone. But you know, majority of people,
society nowadays.
Yeah, they want to put their feelings out there. And it's like, oh, well, you hurt my feelings because, you know, you called my dog Roscoe a girl, and it's like, well, I mean, he's wearing a bow, a pink bow. I mean, what else would I call him? No, you can't do that. And they just, you know, everybody gets upset over the smallest things. So can you imagine the big things that happen in their lives? Can you imagine what happens to them? Like, they probably fall apart. One of my friends when I worked at Coca-Cola, he would say this all the time, and I was like, why do you say that, man? You drive me nuts when you say that. He's like, hey bro, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
I say that sometimes.
And I'm like, Arnie, why do you say that? But dude, that's like the worst thing that you can. That doesn't even, what are you talking about? He's like, that's life, man. That's the way the cookie crumbles. You know, that's life. I mean, life's gonna hand you a big old soup sandwich, and what you do with it, soup sandwich, good job, Dad. And what you do with it is up to you. But you can't go out and tell everybody, "Oh, life's giving me a soup sandwich. What the hell should I do?" And let everyone else solve your problems for you. And I think that's what happens when people start putting their emotions out there. Oh, you said this, you said that about me, because they're waiting for somebody else to answer their problems, and you just got to do that mess on your own, you know?
Exactly.
It builds character.
It does, right? And I think too many people are concerned with, like, I need to let people know how I feel. It's like, no, you don't. Nobody, like, no offense, but nobody cares. Like imagine if I went out and was like, guys, I feel like Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and He should be y'all's too. Oh my gosh, you do that in the wrong place, you'll get mobbed. But that's the bad part, is people don't care about other people's emotions unless it's theirs. Yeah. Which is really dumb, because either you're going to care about everybody's emotions, including the people who you don't agree with, or you're not going to care about anybody's at all. Because it shouldn't be one-sided. It shouldn't be like a double standard where it's like, you can't say that because you hurt my feelings, but I can do whatever I want because they're my feelings and my feelings are valid. Yeah. Well, what about my feelings? Your feelings aren't valid. What? By doing that, you're being mean to me deliberately. It's like, shut up, dude. Like, shut up. Let me live, okay? How about this? You stay in your corner over there, and I'll be in my area.
Yeah.
It's like
that's what it's all about. It's all about living. Like having you have to live. You have to live your own life. You can't expect other people to agree with you. All you can expect them to do is disagree with you or not even help you. I mean, you just have to live your own life, and that's it.
You shouldn't expect anything from anybody.
Yeah, and the only thing you can expect is a rough life. And if you have anything better than that, then thank the Lord. Because that's really what it comes down to is thanking Jesus for all that he gives you, all that you have that's in front of you, that's tangible, that's intangible. I mean, everything you do really comes down to just him. And yeah, being in the Marine Corps and living a hard life growing up, and there's a lot of things that I've been through, but the one thing I know that really helps me, that really takes care of me, that helps me sleep at night, is just knowing that we have a Lord and Savior that takes care of us each and every day. Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing that I can count on. That's the only thing that I can rest my head on, because anything else is false. Anything else could be true, could not be true. It's a coin flip. But when you have the Lord in your life, you know that there's something there that you can trust, that you can lean on, that you can understand that he'll never leave you or forsake you, and you'll always have that love. Always. Yeah.
And when you said everything is like a coin flip, that reminded me of No Country for Old Men.
Oh, God.
If y'all haven't seen that movie, go watch that movie. It's hilarious. It's good, but it's funny in its weird ways.
It is.
I can't call it. You have to call it. Well, sir, what am I putting? You've been putting it up your whole life. Oh, okay. Heads, good job. Okay, don't put it in your pocket. Well, where am I supposed to put it? Anywhere, not in your pocket. It's your lucky quarter.
You're right.
No,
put it in your pocket, because if you do, it'd be just another coin.
Which it is. His haircut is so stupid.
He looks like our dog. He looks like Beanie.
But the weird, and I remember I saw that scene, the gas station scene. I just felt like rewatching it, and one of the comments said, "Yeah, no one." It said the title is like "Psycho Killer goes into a gas station," and one of the comments is, "Yeah, only a psycho killer would rock that kind of haircut and be comfortable with it." Man, he's a good actor though.
He is.
Man, but y'all have to go watch that movie. I remember he's like, "Look at that freaking bone." Sir, you got a bone sticking out of your arm. Give me that shirt. Look at that freaking bone. This little redneck kid with a country accent reminds me of Luke.
Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to say that.
Oh my gosh, man! But
we're using false names too. We're not using. We don't know anyone named Luke. So.
We don't.
We're just using names.
Oh, what? Apart from boot camp, after you got out of boot camp, what do you think was one of the in the real Marine Corps? What do you think was definitely something that stuck, like an event or something that stuck with you? Throughout your entire life, something that would definitely stuck with you in the Marine Corps.
Oh well, I will never see a mailbox the same way again. So I got into my unit, and we were all taking turns handling the mailroom, distributing the mail, and then I got to a point to where I was able to oversee the mailroom, and so I was handling the mailroom this 1 month. I think it was every month, every 2 weeks. Can't remember. I think it was every month. And so they started evacuating everybody out of the building. So we're like, okay, there was a bomb threat. Mm-hmm. So we all go out, and we're all standing like 200 yards away from the buildings, and these guys come up and they're like, "Hey, who's in charge of the mailroom?" They start asking. They're like, "Oh, Rendon is." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm right here." They're like, all right, Rendon, come on over here." We're like, "Hey, we need to go into the mailroom." I'm like, "Okay, what for?" And they're like, "Well, we have some bomb threats. We had a bomb threat, and somebody called in and said that they mailed in a bomb, so we need to go into the mailroom and see if it's in your mailroom." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So like, all right. So they take the dogs up there with us, and we go upstairs, and we're getting to like, okay, as we're walking, we're being like slow, man. We're just, everything is like, just like, slowed down to the T. Like, okay, we're stepping together, walking together, going up the stairs, and I'm just like sweating, like, man, what the heck's gonna happen in here? And so I noticed that we're supposed to go check for a bomb. I'm thinking, don't we have like bomb uniforms or bomb, vest or something, that if it goes off, we're going to be okay? Like, we're not going to get hurt. And so I turned to the sergeant and the corporal. I'm like, "Hey, sergeant," I was like, shouldn't we be wearing something to like protect us just in case this bomb goes off? And he's like, "Oh man, this bomb that they called in, even if we're wearing something and if it goes off, yeah, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to work. We'll be dead." And I was like, "Okay."
Thanks for the advice, man. Thanks for calming me down.
So I go there and they're like, "Okay, put the key in slowly." So I'm sliding in like, oh my gosh, like a second at a time, just like turn it slowly.
Like the longest seconds of your
yes,
life.
and I'm just sweating. We're all sweating. Poor little German Shepherd's just sitting there watching us. He's like,
He doesn't know what's going on.
yeah, he's like, I'm just ready to get in there and just do my job. So we open the door slowly. We go in there and we start like, he goes in, dog goes in, he sniffs everything, nothing. Pull the dog out, take him out. They're like, "Okay, we got to go through each one of these boxes really slowly." And so we start taking boxes out and putting them, lining up in the hallway. And that was pretty stressful. That was very stressful, thinking like, man, if I drop one of these, I mean, just because a dog doesn't smell the bomb doesn't mean, or to smell the particles, or catch a scent, doesn't mean that there's not a bomb in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the fact that like each one of those, like every box you touch is like, this could be the one that like kills me.
And it's like slowly like turning, giving it to the sergeant, him putting it down. And it took almost like 2 hours to go through like maybe 25 boxes.
I mean, you'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah, and that happened twice to me.
Oh my god.
Twice. That was no fun. So anytime I go to the mailbox and I see that stupid key when they say, "Oh, you got a box over here," I'm like, "Oh, I hate this stupid key." And so yeah, it gives me anxiety.
Okay.
A little bit of anxiety.
But man, I mean, I can see how an event, something like that would affect you now, man. Because it's like every box that you get, and I'm just thinking from your head right here. Mm-hmm. Every box that you get is like, this could be the thing that kills me, and like my entire, and like everybody in the room. Yeah. And if you have to be so careful with that, because if you drop that, or if you even move it in the slightest, like if you just, if the tiniest thing could go wrong, boom, y'all are dead. Yeah. And that's one thing that I very much admire about Marines and everybody in the military, is because they put, even in situations like that don't make the news, or that aren't heard about unless, I'm talking directly with you or with a veteran, those type of things will definitely change somebody's life for the better or worse. So that's one thing I really admire about y'all, is just that like y'all can go through that and still continue to not necessarily move on, but also not let that keep you stuck,
Oh yeah.
So man, but I do want to ask you about I do want to see if you're comfortable telling a certain story.
What's that?
Where your hand was in a cast, but that did not stop you from from throwing the smackdown on WWE Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty funny.
Okay, let's hear about it.
Oh gosh, man. So okay, so we were in Japan. I had just messed up my hand from we were lifting weights, and one of my friends, you know who you are, told them to move their weights. Anyway, so I ended up smashing my hand and messing up like 2 of my fingers really bad. So I had to get a cast on my hand. So we go out. We're just having a good time and go to the restroom. This guy's just like being a jerk. And I'm just trying to use the restroom, you know. That's it.
Trying to take a piss, man.
Yeah, and this guy ends up being like some Air Force guy and just starts talking mess to me, and I'm like, dude, who are you talking to? And he's
think you're better than me because you stay in the 5-star hotel,
right? And so I'm like, just because you got 2 hands and I have 1, you know, that don't make you all better than me. So he starts talking smack. So I walk out. I'm like, whatever, man. I ain't got time for this. And we hadn't started drinking yet, so that was the problem. And so I tell my boys, and they're like, "Hey, you all right?" And I'm like, this guy starts talking mess, man. I'm in there trying to trying to use a restroom, and this dude just starts, wailing off of the mouth. And they're like, "Oh, let's go get him." I'm like, "No, man." He walks out. I'm like, "Don't worry about it." I was like, "That's him right there. He's a chump, man. He looks like he's an Air Force dude with long hair and everything." And so we go out, we start drinking, we're having a good time, shots, more shots, and then more beers, and then, we're coming,
shots and 10 beers later.
And we're coming back onto base, and right before we hit Sobriety Hill, it's called Sobriety Hill because it like goes straight up, and by the time, if you're drunk at the bottom, by the time you get up to the top, you're sober.
Oh, nice.
That's called Sobriety Hill. So, but we're walking down there, and we're walking in one of the alleys, and this dude, we see the guy, and he sees me, and he starts talking mess, and I'm like, dude, we're drunk. I have 1 hand, and my friend, I'll call him Buster. And my friend Buster.
Because he busted up something.
Yeah, my friend Buster's like, "Hey, man, why are you talking to my boy like that? Only has 1 hand. Why are you trying to, talk to him? Why are you trying to mess him up? You over here getting all up in his face." And he's like, "Oh, this, the guy starts, y'all ain't nothing, this and that. You ain't nobody." And so Buster's like, man, he's like, "You probably in the Army." No, man, I'm in the Air Force. And he shouldn't have said that. So Buster, so Buster's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Oh, so you're Air Force? You think you're all that?" Yeah. And then so Buster bust him in the head, and that guy's 2 friends jumped in, and there was only 3 of us and 3 of them. So I just kind of had to put my hand off behind me and just start throwing. I had to start throwing hand, not hands. Hand. But yeah, it was pretty bad. We ended up walking up the hill. Went and got something to eat while we got on base, and then as we're walking back.
But what did y'all do to the guy?
Oh, we messed him up pretty well. Him and his friends, both his friends, after they hit the floor, they jumped up and they took off running, and that dude just laid there, and he had enough of Buster. I didn't have to do anything. Buster busted him up pretty good. But and he was bigger than Buster. Oh. And Buster still messed him up. But I mean, if that's the way Marines are, if you're gonna fight one of us, you're gonna fight all of us. That's just the way it is. But yeah, so they got it. But yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good for him.
What happened the next morning though? Because you told me something about the next morning when they had to drag him in.
Oh, which one? Oh, yeah. So they had to drag him into the. Was it into the jail?
It wasn't into the jail. No, I think it was the infirmary because he was so messed up.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So they brought him in. That's when we saw him. We saw him like at 3:00 in the morning, where somebody was walking him up. No, so they were walking him up Sobriety Hill, these 2 guys, and he was just jacked up. That's what it was. Yeah, they brought him up to the MPs, and the MPs were like, "What happened to him?" And he was saying, "Oh, these guys jumped me and this and that." We're like, "What?" And we were so ready to go over there and be like, "Man, this guy was over here with his 3 friends trying to beat us up." trying to talk all that mess, and we're like, man, we're just gonna let him stay there.
Y'all do that. Y'all are admitting it.
Yeah, I mean the MPs are Marines, so they probably would have been like, man, take him back down the hill.
As a matter of fact, let me get a free shot at it.
Right. Just throw him down the hill.
Roll him down.
Yeah, but yeah, he was trying to say that he got jumped. And it was like, no, man. So they kept him there for a little bit. They called.
They called his mommy.
Yeah, they called the MPs over at, I think it was like, gosh, what is it, Hanson? I think Camp Hanson. No, I think that was the Army base, Kessler. I don't know. There was an Air Force base in Japan. Mm-hmm. They called those MPs, and I guess they picked him up and took him back. Oh. But yeah, he was trying to be a tough guy. And again, you fight one of us, you fight all of us. So.
I mean, if you wanna try and be a tough guy, I don't suggest anybody do it. But if you're gonna do it, at least follow through. At least. And don't do it with somebody who's got like 3 friends around, because they're all going to beat you up. You know, for number one rule of the streets, there's no rules in the streets. Mm-hmm. Which kind of sucks, but at the same time, you can't expect any more.
That's why it's called the streets.
Exactly. Speaking of fights, though, I remember one of the first fights I ever got into with I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to say Justin. So I think I told this story before. So basically, Justin was this little kid. I was in kindergarten, and we were playing tag. I tagged him. He ran around the gym. He tagged me. I ran around the gym. I tagged him, and he got really mad. So he put me in a bear hug and started squeezing me. Keep in mind, this kid's bigger than me. And so he just starts squeezing the mess out of me. I'm like, hey, stop. And I'm hitting, I'm tapping him, hey, chill. I'm not playing like this. And the kid, he finally lets go. And when he does, at that time I had been in karate. So I grab his arm and I slam him up against the gym wall. And I'm like, I told you not to. And he's like, I'm sorry. Anyways, long story short, I get sent to the principal's office. They try to get me in trouble, but this kid started it all. I definitely ended it. And then afterwards, Dad's like, man, this is some BS. What was your reaction to that? I think you were like, this is some BS. Let's go get McDonald's.
Yeah. So I told the principal, I'm like, okay, what did my son do wrong? Well, he was very aggressive, and he put this kid up against, he took this kid, twisted his arm behind his back, and threw him up against the wall. And I said, okay, why did he do that? Well, apparently that's what the coaches told me, the PE coaches, was that, what was his name? Justin grabbed him, and I know his real name, but grabbed him and was bear hugging him and wouldn't let him go. So once Justin let him go, JC got mad, and he did what we had to do, and he put him up against the wall. And I was like, okay, so why is my son in trouble if he was defending himself? Well, he should have gone and told somebody. I said, well, there's 2 coaches there, PE coaches, who they saw that happen, so why would he have to go tell him? They came over and separated him. Well, he was just being aggressive. I was like, okay, this is crazy. I was like, you know what? What's going to happen? Well, your son's going to be expelled for the day. I was like, okay, what's going to happen to the other kid? And typical answer, well, we can't tell you what's going to happen to the other kid. I was like, okay. I was like, well, I don't approve of this. I think my son did what he should have done. And if he does it again, and if it should happen again, he's going to do the same thing. And it might even come with some consequences for the other kid. I was like, all right, we're out of here. So, yeah, we ended up going to McDonald's and celebrating.
I'll tell you what. I mean, yes, I've gotten in trouble numerous times with mom and dad for lots of different things. I've gotten in so much trouble, but at the same time, when they needed to, they definitely stuck up for me. And I'm gonna say this right now. I feel like it's, in some cases, not all of them, in some cases it was a race issue. Just because, not when I was a kid, but more as I got older. Mm-hmm. And I would fight white kids, and the white kids wouldn't really get into that much trouble, but I noticed that I got into more trouble than they did for whenever they did more than me.
I would say I would say 50% because of color and 50% because of privilege.
Because of my awesome butt kickery.
Oh my gosh.
Is that why, Dad?
That's it because their parents were known in the school, and so they were associated with people that
The higher ups.
with the higher ups in that school. So, but I mean, hey, it happens, and we work through it, and you're a better kid, and sometimes I feel for those kids where they're at now because they still haven't learned their lesson. They're still in the same place that they were in 5th grade, 6th grade.
I mean, if you improve yourself, that's awesome. If you don't, I feel bad for you. You need to improve. Everybody needs to improve themselves. I feel like it's an everyday kind of thing, though. Like, definitely a commitment.
I mean, yeah, because nobody ever stays the same. Either you get better or you get worse. Because if you think about it, if you stay the same for over 10 years, then where are you at?
You're still at the same place, so you're just getting worse. So
Yeah,
your age is getting older. Your maturity is still here.
Yeah, you're digressing. You're not. Yeah. So a lot of people think, oh my gosh. So it's funny because when you see these movies and you see these people that high school reunions, and they're like, oh, that guy hasn't changed in years. Like, that's pretty bad. He's still living at home with the same dog, and and nothing's changed about him.
Still pulling the same pranks. It's like, yeah, but that's not funny because you were 17 back then, and you're like 40 now.
Right, you're 47 now. So
like in that movie Central Intelligence.
Yeah, there you go, Bob. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that was so. What he's like, I'm quoting here, by the way. I'm quoting. Start quote. The Lord taught me to care. You know what I care about? That I didn't throw your naked butt out that gym door like 5 more times. That was funny. Man. Thank y'all for watching. If y'all would like pops on more episodes and stuff, leave a like, comment, tell us your favorite flavor of ice cream. Tell us if you've been in the military. Thank you for your service if you have. But yeah, that's all we got for today. It's getting pretty late. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to sleep. But any last thoughts?
Yes, next time we're going to be talking about girlfriend situations, and what we've been through in the past. And stay tuned.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Peace. Roger that.